Hello, Bravo bosses. This is the Bravo Investigator Podcast. I'm your host, Dana, and today we are talking all things Mormon wives. Let's get into it. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope everyone's had a great week. It is raining like hell here in Toronto. I cannot go outside. I am on my last roll of toilet paper, so things are getting bleak. Gotta go out there at some point for sure, but it is my lunch break right now on Friday. I thought, you know what? Everyone on the internet is talking about Taylor Frankie Paul. There's literally been an update, I don't know, once an hour for like the last week. So I figured, all right, I should jump on here and do an episode about everything that's been going on. Plus, we also got some updates about Jessi and Jordan. So I was like, yeah, let me just do an hour while I am on my lunch break and update you guys about everything that's going on behind the scenes with Secret Lives of Mormon Wives slash The Bachelorette. It has been such a crazy week. Like, I honestly can't believe it. But before we get into all of that, I guess I just want to apologize as per usual. I know I normally get you guys a midweek episode covering Summer House. I will try to get that to you guys tomorrow. I might just do a jumbo episode and cover Summer House, Southern Charm, and the last two Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something. I've just been a bit behind this week. Honestly, my anxiety has just been really bad this week. I It made me realize that like maybe I need to change my antidepressants because I've been on them for 5 years and like it took me a really, really long time to find ones that worked for me. First and foremost, because of weight gain. It is a major side effect of the majority of SSRIs that you could gain weight. And given that I had an eating disorder my whole life, this always just caused like issues for me. Like I would get like major anxiety about even going on anxiety meds because I didn't want to gain any weight. So there really wasn't a lot of options. And when I finally found something that I liked and that worked, I really wanted to stick with it. But I don't know. I just really feel like the way I've been acting and feeling lately just doesn't make sense. Like, obviously, we all have anxiety. We all have, our times and things like that. And yes, I started a new job, which is a new anxiety provoking thing. But I feel like everything that I have felt anxious about over the past 5 years has been situational and like it would be normal for me to be upset about. But I feel like the things I've been upset about in the last little while have been more so just extremely trivial, down to like making phone calls and going to work and just worrying about being fired and all the things that I typically worry about. But now it's just consuming me to like a whole other degree. Like I literally had to make a phone call this week, which is a normal thing to do in a job. And it caused so much anxiety in me that I ended up throwing up before the phone call, like a full bowl throw up. And I was just like, all right, this is absolutely ridiculous. I need to be able to make phone calls. I have found some ways to sort of calm my anxiety. I think maybe I've told you guys about like really wrapping myself up tight in a blanket and really focusing on that. But I have to be able to go to work as well. But at the same time, I just started this job, so I don't want to like be talking to them about this or let them know that any of this is going on because I don't want to be like, thanks for the job, but like, my mental health, right? Like, it's just not a good time for that. And like when you change antidepressants, it can be like a really lengthy process and a really horrible process because you can be going through all of these different side effects until you find the right one that works for you. So it's really, really not an ideal time. Oh, and I would have to wean off the medication that I'm currently on as well, which has its own set of side effects. So I was not looking forward to this. But good news, I talked to my doctor yesterday and she recommended this thing that's like a boosting agent for your antidepressants. Like I've never heard of such a thing because it's not like I can go on a higher dosage of my antidepressants. I'm on the highest dosage. That's why I was like, oh, I have to go on a different one. She said that this kind of gives, I guess, like an additional, yeah, like a boost to your medication that you can't get by virtue of like upping the dosage. So she's going to start me on like a really small dosage of that to add to my medication. Then it also gave me something for panic attacks because I've been dealing with panic attacks as well. So I feel better about things going forward, I guess. Um, I had like a weird altercation with my boss yesterday too, and like he ended up course correcting it, which is so interesting. Like I feel like he knew that he was being rude to me and then he tried to fix it. So, I mean, at least he tried to fix it and that's a good thing, but it's just like, ugh, I don't want to go through all of this again. I just want to feel like safe and happy and comfortable at work. And like the only thing I can think of to do to sort of help that right now is like work on myself, right? Like work on my mental health through medication and through therapy and all those things. But it's just, I was worried about it being like this really arduous process. But like now hearing that I would just have like this boosting agent to my original medication and I wouldn't have to go through the process of changing medications, like that is such good news. So all of that to say, we have a plan going forward with my brain and my mental health. So that's where we are with me. Hope you guys are well. You know who isn't well? Taylor Frankie Paul. So last week, just a week ago, on March 12th, 2026, we had the release of season 4 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now, this is something that I normally cover, but I didn't end up covering it this time. And I was asking you guys if you wanted me to cover it on the pod. I didn't hear back from anybody. And the only reason I didn't really want to cover it this time was because I didn't think the season was very good, mostly because it just really saw Taylor going through a downward spiral, in my opinion. She just really seemed, like it was interesting. I almost compared it to like that movie, Get Him to the Greek, because it really felt like the theme of the entire season was getting Taylor to the Bachelorette, like because you know how basically they film it like they're filming behind the scenes, so we're watching them do press and we're watching them like go on book tours and things like that. So we have Taylor going to be on The Bachelorette, but she keeps getting drawn back into Dakota. She ends up sleeping with him the night before she goes to leave for The Bachelorette. Throughout the season, she ends up getting really upset with him based on different people that he sleeps with. There's this girl, Shania, who is somewhat connected to the group because she's friends with Miranda. And then I guess the dad talk guys, I hate dad talk. The dad talk guys are going to be on a season of Vanderpump Villa. That's what I assume based on the way this season 4 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives went down. So on that trip, I guess Dakota slept with somebody there as well. And so they just keep getting in fights about things like that on the season. And while you're watching it on the season, I have to be honest, I'm more anti-Taylor than I am him, only because, I mean, they're both messed up and they both clearly need help, but just more so it's like, okay, it just sort of feels to me like if you want to move on, don't let yourself get so wrapped up and upset in the people that he's sleeping with, right? If you believe that he's sleeping with these certain people to hurt you, then like cut him out of your life. Like, listen, I know that's easier said than done. Like, I get it, right? I just feel like in the 4 seasons that we've been watching her, I just feel like this was the weakest that she was when it came to Dakota. It felt like she was way more willing to go back to him, even though he was doing worse and worse stuff. And she said something in the season to the effect of like, he always chooses her in the end. And I think I know what she means. Like, this is like a really like sad, fucked up story, but like I was sort of seeing this guy and then he was seeing someone else. And I, anytime I could get him to be with me, I felt like I won the situation. It was so stupid. I know. And it's gross and weird. I just felt like I felt a little bit better anytime I could get him to be with me. And I think that the fact that he always comes back to her at the end of the day gives her that sense of security that I feel like she's missing. Like, listen, I'm no therapist, but like there's something going on here, obviously. She obviously has severe abandonment issues. She does talk a lot about that in this season of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Like she goes on a search for her father and his family and stuff. And so it's clear that she has abandonment issues, given that she never met her father except for one time when she was 4, and that he never really came looking for her. So there's that. Issues that she's had maybe with other men for sure. But it just really seems like she wants to be someone's first and foremost so bad. But if he's done so much to you and he's so awful, like, again, easier said than done. I get that. I just, the cycle has to end somewhere, and I guess that's was the point of the Bachelorette, which it shouldn't be the point, right? And I know this is going to sound silly to say because everyone was saying to me like none of these guys going on the Bachelorette are there for the right reasons, and probably so, but I do have like this hope deep down within me that there is some that are, especially because Taylor's season was cast with men who were willing to move to Utah because she has three kids and two baby daddies who live in Utah. So you can't just, pick her up out of her environment. So they had to pick people that were willing to do that. And I feel like that speaks to how serious some of them might have been. Um, and while some of them might have just been there for like trying to get like an influencer career, I don't know. And you guys know I hate men. I do feel bad for the men because she just seemed so mentally unwell. She was spiraling the entire season about Dakota to the point where it was annoying her family, it was annoying her friends, and she's saying things like, "How does my sex life affect you guys?" And they're like, "It does affect us because you're constantly crying to us. You're starting massive fights with us." Like maybe part of the problem is that they hang out, right? Like he's your ex. Like yes, he's your baby daddy, but maybe you should only be seeing him for the purposes of like passing off your kid. Like he doesn't need to be in your friend group. He doesn't need to be on your show, right? Like none of this needs to be happening. Dad talk isn't really a thing, so he really shouldn't be like contractually obligated to anything in any way. But that's basically what we saw going on in the season. It just I left the season feeling like, okay, I feel like she needs therapy and I feel like she's not ready for the Bachelorette. She's not ready to go on dates with other men. She's completely obsessed with Dakota and she cannot get over him in her mind. So I kind of felt like, okay, this is weird. And that's how it ended. Then we see her over the past week starting to do press for The Bachelorette, which was supposed to come out really soon. They had her at the Oscars. And then we find out just a few days ago that there was a domestic violence incident between Dakota and Taylor, and it was at the end of February. It was February 24th and 25th, in which she tried to choke him with a necklace. So season 5 was put on pause immediately of filming The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because as you guys know, this thing is just basically continuously filming. So they had started filming it and then there was a pause. So this is some information I have from People. It says a spokesperson for the Draper City Police Department confirmed that there is an open domestic assault investigation regarding Paul and her ex-boyfriend Dakota Mortensen. The spokesperson confirmed allegations have been made in both directions and contact was made with involved parties on February 24th and 25th. The spokesperson declined to share more amid the ongoing investigation. Another source close to the cast confirmed to People that the fellow members of Mom Talk are distancing themselves from Paul as the situation continues to unfold. None of the women want to be associated with her. TMZ was first to report the halt in filming, and then reps were contacted, and The Bachelorette was set to premiere on March 22nd on ABC. So then we find out, well, first I just kind of felt like, no, I really doubt that the cast would do that. They know that whatever this is involves Dakota too. Like whatever culpability Taylor might have, I'm sure the other ladies know that there's culpability on Dakota's end too. So I was just like, no, that can't be. But then we find out that the cast actually had a meeting with Hulu saying that they didn't feel comfortable going forward. So I'm going to read you guys this article that I found. Hang on. So it says, cast members from Hulu's The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives told ABC executives at a meeting earlier this morning that they had concerns about continuing the show if Mom Talk founder Taylor Frankie Paul remained involved, according to audio obtained by NBC. The roughly 30-minute Zoom meeting came on March 7th following an incident involving Paul and her on-again, off-again partner, Dakota Mortensen. A spokesperson for the Draper Police Department in Utah said earlier this week there was an open domestic assault investigation relating to Paul and Mortensen from February. During the call, stars from Mormon Wives voiced concerns over the future of their careers, the show's brand, and the allegations surrounding Paul and Mortensen. They also brought up alleged abuse involving Paul, who has 3 children, one who she shares with Mortensen. Sorry, I have this a little out of order. Let me figure it out. Okay, and then One cast member said they did not feel comfortable filming as long as Paul is being investigated. It's a dangerous situation. It's a sad situation, and we don't know how to navigate it because Taylor is our friend, the cast member said to ABC Brass at the virtual meeting. According to a source with knowledge of the situation, the purpose of the March 7th Zoom was to tell the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives cast that we care about their safety and they should not feel pressed to do press or film the show. The production company engaged a seasoned law firm to conduct an investigation of the competing and conflicting allegations that Taylor and Dakota have towards one another, the source added, and it would have been inappropriate to engage in a dialogue regarding an ongoing investigation. There were 3 Disney executives at the meeting in March, including Rob Mills, the executive vice president of unscripted and alternative entertainment at Walt Disney, the person who shared the recording said. Cast members gave accounts of Paul's alleged behavior at the meeting. According to the audio, Mills said on the call, "I don't know a lot, nor do I want to know too much." Mills could not speak about the investigation, the source with knowledge of the situation said. At the meeting, one cast member asked Mills if he's aware she's hurt a child. He replied, I don't think for us getting into it is right. Jesus. At the meeting, Mills stressed that the company is never going to hide anything that is wrong for the sake of business. He encouraged cast members to speak out about their concern on the show, but declined to promise that what they said wouldn't be cut in edits. The cast also expressed concerns that Paul got paid more than them, which Mills denied. Ultimately, the cast agreed to pause filming for The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives until legal action plays out, according to the audio recording. You guys may even recall that this sort of happened at the beginning of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So they had started filming, and then there was the 2023 altercation between Dakota and Taylor, where she ended up being arrested and charged. And they ended up pausing filming for 8 months, which is why Connor's hair was different, and which is why different people ended up becoming involved. And they weren't sure if they were going to be able to continue filming. They weren't sure if they were going to be able to have Taylor even continue to be involved because of the legal stuff. So, it's just interesting that now that's happening again and again because of Taylor. So Taylor did speak to Good Morning America about this. So I'm just going to play the clip of her talking to them because this was the last press basically that she did.
Opportunity to respond to recent headlines about the alleged domestic violence incident with your ex-boyfriend. What do you want to share with us about this?
Honestly, it's been a heavy time to see the headlines, especially during this time of The Bachelorette being released, and it's supposed to be a really exciting time. I'm a person that will always speak my truth, and that's what I'm known for. And so when the time is right, I will be. But right now, just trying to be in the present moment and focus on this. But the thing is my kids do come first.
Mm-hmm.
My kids come first, and so it's been like just a back and forth process, trying to be here in the present moment, worrying about, home and headlines. It's been stressful, to be honest.
We did reach out to Dakota, and we did not, for a statement, we did not get a response from him. Now we have reports that The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives has paused production on the next season. I know there's a season on right now, and then season 5 was in production. Mm-hmm. Reports say it's paused. Is that true?
Honestly, I don't call the shots with production. So as of now, I have gotten word that it also has been paused, but I do not call those shots. Mm-hmm. So as far as I know, it was, but I don't know for how long.
And I know you're one of the executive producers on the show.
Yeah. I got told that this year.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, I think just because we share our lives and we produce our own, lives.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that necessarily what that means.
And how do you envision your future on that show?
Hard to say now, right? Just because of, everything going on. It's hard to see past this. I'm not going to lie. In this moment, it's just so heavy. When your life is broadcasted out there in these headlines, it's like the end of the world. Right. That's what it feels like. I'm not going to lie. But I will say I've been here before and I got through it and shared my story, my light. So I'm hoping that I can do that again.
Yeah. And you're in.
Okay. And then after that, there was just a series of articles that started coming out. And so basically, in my opinion, from what I can see happening, it seems so we have this altercation that happened in February. I don't know why it's been kept a secret for this long or how they've been able to keep it a secret for this long or who even knew. I don't know if ABC and Disney even knew about it. I mean, like I said, they sent her to the Oscars and everything, right? But regardless, within the past week since The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives came out, yeah, it seems like Dakota is going ham. It really does seem like it's all coming for him. And there's just like article upon article with TMZ. So one of them is about Dakota showing friends videos of Taylor like injuring him and stuff in some way. They are on like his camera and they're spanning a significant period of time. Apparently they show like a series of heated moments between them, including Taylor hitting him, punching him, biting him, and grabbing him. People close in the situation have said that the footage has sparked worry about the toxicity between them, who also co-parent their son. So that's kind of fucked up. And then he was telling people and showing evidence basically of her calling him up to like 150 times in a single night, just to kind of show the toxicity of their routine, or how their routine has sort of become incredibly toxic. And so we actually have this. If you go to Reality Steve's profile, it'll show, yeah, the kind of that call log, which is really crazy. I don't know what night this is from necessarily, but I guess I think he's just going like, yeah, full ham on her. Um, man. So then people were sort of wondering, all right, well, what's going to happen with The Bachelorette? This is set to premiere on the 22nd, like I said. Now, if you know Reality Steve, and maybe you do if you are a Bachelor girly, Reality Steve is sort of like the OG spoiler guy from the beginning. He used to have a blog. I think that's how we first knew of Reality Steve. And yeah, if you wanted to know the end of the Bachelor spoilers, he was the guy. And now he has a podcast, Instagram, all of that. So he did release spoilers on his Instagram of what happened at the end. So, I mean, I'm going to spoil those for you guys now because the season isn't happening, which we are going to get to in a minute. Spoiler alert for that as well. But I am just going to read to you what he said the very ending will be. So Doug Mason is the guy who Taylor ends up picking. And then he wrote, since filming ended, Taylor and Doug have broken up. And yes, it's because of Dakota. As pretty much everyone has been saying since the second she was announced as the Bachelorette, Taylor was never over Dakota. And it was just revealed to the public in episode 10 of Secret Lives that she slept with Dakota the night before leaving for filming. Doug flew to Utah about a month after the engagement in January, I'm told, and Taylor ended it. The reasons behind it? I guess we'll find out when it airs. But if Taylor says it's anything other than Dakota, she's not being honest with herself or the audience. So any TikToks or teases she does on social media is just to promote her season. She is not with Doug anymore, nor is she with Dakota. She just can't seem to move on from him. We'll hear their sides on the finale night, I'm sure, and then we'll see how it all played out when season 5 of Secret Lives comes out in the fall, because corporate synergy. So yes, exactly what everyone predicted would happen before this season ever started filming is exactly what ended up happening. No one should be surprised with that being the ultimate outcome. So then we find a fully released video on TMZ it's the full video from 2023 when Taylor and Dakota got in that physical altercation that I mentioned earlier that ended up leading to the pausing of filming for the season 1 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now I'm going to play you guys a clip of it. Because you're just listening to the audio, you can only hear like, I guess, kind of the sounds of it and stuff. It is disturbing though, so I am going to issue a trigger warning though, as well for domestic violence.
Yeah, look at you. Look. Yeah, look. This is called full abuse. Hang on. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Taylor, this is all you do. It's the only thing you know how to do. It's okay. Holy. It's okay. I don't. Let me go. Stop. Dude, leave me alone.
Now, that's not actually the full video. The full video can be viewed at tmz.com. And if you actually continue to watch it, you'll see that Taylor continues to argue and fight with Dakota after her child gets hit by a chair. And she continues to throw things at him. And he's saying things like, your daughter's right there. Your daughter's right there. Are you okay, honey? Nobody's checking on her. And so it's pretty bad. It's pretty wild. But one thing I do want to mention is that, or remind you guys, is that that incident was an incident that she was arrested for, and she was charged misdemeanor charges of assault, criminal mischief, and commission of domestic violence in the presence of a child. But all of those charges were dropped. All of that was taken care of. And none of this is new information. It's just new to us in the sense that we never actually saw the video before. We never saw how bad it was. And we didn't really know her as a reality TV personality until after all of that as well. There was the Mormon swinging scandal. So we may have known her from that, but we didn't know her as Taylor Frankie Paul from The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. That domestic violence incident was dealt with. She also, you know, fully admitted to that. She talked about it in interviews, apologized for it, and we felt like she had moved on. But I feel like given how we are watching season 4, when you can see how damaged she really is and how much therapy she truly needs, it kind of speaks to, okay, well, maybe she hasn't grown as much as we thought she had, right? I feel like we always want to see someone rise and grow. And so we'll forgive their mistakes. But when you keep making the same mistakes or you revert past behaviors, it's harder for us to forgive you, right? It's sort of like the James Kennedy of it all. We forgave him and we forgave him and we forgave him until the final incident with Allie. And we're like, we're not forgiving you anymore. You've done too many things now. You keep making the same mistakes and we are no longer forgiving you. So since then, Dakota has now filed a protective order against Taylor, asking for sole custody of their son Ever, and he is claiming child abuse. So that's the part that I don't really have a lot of details on. I have an article that says that Dakota said that he was at Taylor's home. So again, this is like February 24th and February 23rd, somewhere in between February 23rd to 25th, I guess this entire thing happened. And they were with their son Ever. He claimed that the two had an argument that escalated. Then he said that she choked him and he had to physically remove her hands from his neck while she shoved him into a window and struck him. In his filing, he called the situation chaotic and frightening. Dakota claims that Ever woke up from the commotion, which he says included Taylor yelling and screaming. Dakota says that he called 911 for help, but he claims Taylor pressured and manipulated him into telling dispatch that the child was sick so the call would end. He claims that Taylor was emotionally volatile and said that she wanted to harm herself. Dakota said that he tried to calm her down for her safety and to stabilize the situation for their child. He claims after he put Ever back to sleep and lay down with him, Taylor pulled the blankets off them. Dakota said he tried to shield Ever, but the child woke up crying because of Taylor's aggressive behavior. Dakota said that he left her home and went to his home with Ever for their safety. Dakota claims that the two were together again at her home at the following night and allegedly, so that's why it went to the next night, and alleges that Taylor threw his phone into the wall and physically blocked him from exiting. Dakota said that Taylor followed him and continued to yell. Dakota said that he got into his truck and Taylor also got in and started to attack him. He says he tried to drive away, but Taylor grabbed and squeezed his face, threw a drink on him, and struck parts of his car. Dakota says, I was unable to safely leave while this was happening, and my child has been left inside the home during the chaos under her watch due to our custody agreement. He added that due to protect himself, he had to push her away from him, which she made contact with the passenger seat. Dakota said that he left the home, which led to Taylor texting him she had a bloody nose and needed medical attention, which I believe was an attempt to get me to return and prevent me from calling the police. He said he is genuinely concerned for my safety and the safety and well-being of my child. Dakota claims he suffered bruises and lacerations due to Taylor's actions. In his petition, Dakota brought up Taylor's 2023 arrest for assault, where she was accused of throwing chairs at him. The petition requested temporary custody of Ever and that Taylor not drink or use drugs during her parenting time. TMZ obtained photos of Dakota at the Utah courthouse today, and we're told he happened to bump into Taylor's ex, Tate Paul, or sources tell us that they were both there to obtain separate protective orders against Taylor. So I had heard that as well. I'm not sure if that is 100% true. I was told that that was not why he was there and that Dakota's order also didn't go through due to some paperwork mix-up, but I'm sure that that can be fixed up quite quickly. So, holy crap, you guys. I mean, okay, let me almost finish because we're almost at the end and then we can just sort of talk about just all our thoughts on it, all the thoughts and feels. So ABC, as of yesterday, so March the 19th, has effectively canceled the premiere of The Bachelorette. So Taylor has made a statement and she said, it's a dangerous situation. Oh, no, wait, that's somebody else. Okay, sorry, you guys. I'm a little unorganized today because I just wanted to make sure I was able to get this to you guys at lunch. Jeez. Oh, here it is. She said that she's gaining strength to face her accuser and take steps to ensure that she and her children are protected from any future harm. There are too many women who are suffering in silence as they survive aggressive, jealous partners who refuse to let them move on with their lives. Taylor has remained silent out of fear of further abuse, retaliation, and public shaming. She is currently exploring all of her options, seeking support, and preparing to own and share her story. At the end of the day, these two people are so incredibly toxic towards each other. I think that they both need therapy and they both need help. I, you can't really, you could blame them both for continuing this toxic cycle. I can say that the one maybe silver lining out of all of this is like they are no way ever, ever, ever going to get back together. Like I cannot imagine after he is like gone for her this hard, right? Out of everything that she's ever like loved about him, I think it's that he's always had her back or that he's always chosen her at the end of the day, as I mentioned at the beginning. And for him to like go to the media and like to release all of this information about her, this is like the worst thing you can do to her in her mind, right? Like the media is her business. If she ends up being canceled on his dime, basically, like if it's his fault that she's canceled, she will never, ever forgive him for that because then he has effectively ruined her business and effectively like ruined her career. So, yeah, I think they are absolutely donezo. I think that she was a bad choice for the Bachelorette. I'll just say it, right? And I feel like, this is not a new sentiment. I'm not saying anything revolutionary. I'll just give you guys my thoughts on it regardless. When they made this announcement, I was like, okay, this is a choice, right? And I figured, all right, it's very obvious why they're doing this. The Bachelor franchise has been around for a long time, and it's really hard to keep things new and fresh, especially when you have newer and funner model type shows coming out like Love is Blind, Temptation Island, things that we're just enjoying in a different type of way. And the Bachelor format is sort of dead and done. They've tried a few different things, like having two bachelorettes or things like that, just that haven't really worked out. And so I guess they thought, hey, there is this mass popularity when it comes to the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We saw Vanderpump Villa take advantage of that and try to make that crossover so that they could gain that audience that comes with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And they thought, hey, why not cast Taylor Frankie Paul so that we can garner that audience? And honestly, it was a brilliant idea. I remember when they came up with the idea and I said, this is a brilliant idea. Like financially it is because yeah, they are going to garner that entire audience. The number of podcasters that have even been preparing for the next Bachelor, what do you call it? The premiere and for the season to come out. They were doing their picks for the men and introducing the men for the season, their bios, this and that, right? Like it comes with its own sort of customer base, right? And so they had just gained like this entire clientele that they didn't have before. So it's a huge deal to lose it. I heard they've lost like $100 million to basically lose her in this. So when they cast her, I thought, yeah, that's a really interesting idea financially. And then when I heard, okay, they're only going to cast men that are willing to move to Utah, I thought, all right, I think that's fair. But I never really thought about her that much in terms of her emotional capacity or her maturity. I thought, like, yeah, she's a chaos agent for sure, but I didn't really think it would be a bad season. I thought it might be different. It might be fun. I thought she probably won't end up with who she picks, but you know what? Most of them don't anyways. But I never thought about the Dakota of it all. Like it honestly never occurred to me. Despite the fact that we've seen her combat her feelings about this guy for a few years. And again, this was prior to season 4 airing, right? Like, because that only aired a week ago. So for those first 3 seasons, I'm like, yeah, she'll get over him. No big deal. She'll pick a new guy on The Bachelorette. Like I never thought about the Dakota of it all. But now where we are, it just seems so insane after watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 4, because you can just see that she's so not emotionally ready. Like I said, it kind of felt like unfair to the men, but also just kind of dangerous in a way because she just seemed so, what's the word? Unstable? She seemed extremely unstable during the season. because I feel like in prior seasons, she's had a better handle on her feelings for Dakota than she did this season. I felt like she really caved to him so much more so than she did in previous seasons. I don't know. That was just sort of my take on it, right? And like I said, everybody was getting super annoyed with it. Um, but I didn't think it would ever come to this for sure. Um, and and then when I heard that all of this happened, I mean, it like I said, she can't say that she's had all of this growth and that she's ready because then, like I said, we see season 4 play out. Then we hear about this domestic violence incident. And it's wild because I was telling my sister the other day on the phone, who doesn't watch any of this stuff, I was like, did I tell you who the next Bachelorette is? And she was like, oh, that Mormon girl. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. I just finished watching season 4 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And I feel like I don't know. I don't feel like she's ready. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. Like the whole season, she's obsessing about her baby daddy. And, every time he even says this in the season, right? He says something like, I even like talk to a girl and you freak out, right? So you do have to put like some blame on Taylor too, right? Like she doesn't let him move on either, not even a little bit. Why can't he have sex with somebody at Vanderpump Villa? Why not? He needs to move on. You're not going to be with him, right, Taylor? So let him move on so you can move on. It's just so, I don't know. And then I was like, she slept with him as well, like the night before she went to the Bachelorette. My sister's like, you know what, though? They all do that. They all do that. It just doesn't always come out. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, it doesn't always come out in the media, right? Like, obviously, I could think of a million times where that becomes like an issue, right? It was an issue on the Minnesota season of Love is Blind with Lauren and insert white man here. I don't remember his name. Dave. Yeah, Dave, where she had slept with someone like a week before going to the experiment and he couldn't get past it. So do people do that? Yeah, I guess. But like, if you're doing that, I mean, that's a different situation. That was a situationship. This is someone that Taylor loves. This is her baby daddy. If you're sleeping with your baby daddy the night before you're going to the Bachelorette, you're not ready to find love, right? Listen, I feel like you should be going into it with that mindset. I understand it's a TV show, but it also is a real thing. Like somebody is going to propose to you at the end. Spoiler alert, somebody did propose to her at the end, right? So it feels, what's the word? It feels irresponsible to send her off for this. And something else that I noticed during the season of The Secret Lives as well is how everyone kept talking about her going on The Bachelorette as this really great opportunity. And it is, but again, it is a marriage as well, right? Like nobody was taking it seriously. Which again, maybe I'm taking it seriously, but I only say that because it does lead to a proposal at the end. You don't have to say yes or anything, but everybody in her life seemed to be talking about it like, it was this really great business opportunity and she couldn't pass it up. But it's also, if you're not ready, like, can you imagine like meeting 22 guys and your heart is completely wrapped up in somebody else and you have to like talk to these other guys and kiss them and like all these other things. I don't know. Me personally, I just don't know that I'd have like the emotional capacity to do that. I'd have to put on quite the act and not really be myself. I'd have to like literally turn it on and be an actress to get myself through that if I wasn't like emotionally available and ready to do that. So I don't know. It's just something to be said. So, you know, Reality Steve releases all these spoilers, and I'm like, well, there's no point in anybody watching it, right? Because it was still sort of interesting to see like how it may have played out, just in terms of if it would have been like a fun season or a different season, and then ABC had to pull it, and it makes sense, right? But it sort of reminds me of like even the whole Kristen and Stassi situation on Vanderpump Rules, where they ended up getting fired from Vanderpump Rules several years after an incident of them reporting Faith to the police. And production had known about this, but it didn't come out on a podcast until 2020. And 2020 was a different time, right? So in 2020, NBC, Universal, Bravo, whoever it is, end up firing Stassi and Kristen from Vanderpump Rules for something that had happened years ago. And that's what it feels like is happening here, because they're canning the entire season. They've already done production on the entire season, all the marketing for the entire season, all the press for the entire season. It's literally supposed to come out in 2 days, and it's just dead in the water. And yeah, I mean, it's just so crazy. I mean, I don't know. I think it's probably for the best. I think they made like a business decision where they were like, okay, we've had the release of this video now, and I think, what do you call it, from like an optics perspective, it doesn't look good from a business wise to promote this woman as the Bachelorette and to promote this season. I'm sure they've also seen that everyone is aware of the spoilers. And then, yeah, just to have the video come out and to see how violent it actually is, it just feels unfair in one sense to penalize Taylor for something that she's already paid penance for, like in terms of her future opportunities. But on the same vein, that is exactly what Dakota is trying to do to her. So Dakota is a slime ball, and that is exactly what's going on here. But then again, you have to also blame Taylor for having this person in her life and continuing this toxic cycle. Then you also have to look at the fact of like who we promote as reality TV stars, right? When Taylor first came into our lives, it was as someone who had gone against her marriage and her religion and had done something salacious. Yeah, we are very fascinated by salacious people or people who like go against, yeah, their religions or their lifestyles or things like that. Um, but it was more for like this scandal, right? And then we sort of glamorized her after this scandal, and it's like, well, what are we promoting her for? Like, what has she done that we're so interested in? Kim Kardashian was sort of the same way. Her rise to fame was a sex tape, and that's what made us know who she was, and eventually she built a bajillion businesses, right? But Taylor Frankie Paul also came up off of a scandal that gained fame and popularity, but we ended up basically rewarding her for cheating on her husband and being involved in this scandal, basically, and said, hey, you did this bad thing, but do you want a TV show out of it? And Jax Taylor has talked about this, honestly. He's like, you do bad things and then they reward you by paying you more money and renewing you for the next season, and it ends up being a good thing. So while you know that you're doing something bad, you know that the reward is going to be good. So I wonder if there was any part of her that, sort of leans into the chaos in any way because she thinks it might be good for her. But she definitely just needs a lot of help, and it's just so sad to see, in my opinion, what I feel like is a backtrack, because I feel like we saw her at the beginning of season one, sort of in the place she's in now. I feel like where we're seeing her now is yeah, pre her 2023 domestic violence situation with Dakota. We saw maybe what, like half of an episode in season one where she was all about him and he had all of these issues. Then they have the domestic violence situation. Then it's 8 months later. Then she's sober and clean and trying to lead a different life. And I felt like I saw a lot of growth in her after that. And she was going to therapy and all of these things, and took a lot of responsibility for her actions. But I just feel like in season four it was just like a full like 180. Is that the right one? 180? Yeah, I think that might be the right way. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like we've seen such a backtrack in terms of her growth, her emotional maturity. um she just lets her relationship with Dakota really take over her entire personality, her entire being. Listen, I'm not judging her for that, okay? Like, we've all been there. But what I really noticed during that season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I've just really noticed how much it just takes over her entire soul, her entire being. So she gets upset about like one small thing that he does, and it takes not down her day, but her entire life. And you watch the other girls sort of tiptoe around her in terms of giving her information because they don't want her to explode. And so, what's the solution to that? I don't know. Getting rid of this guy from your life in some way, going to therapy, whatever it is, I don't know. But the fact that it led to this, or that she's in the place that she's in now, means something has to drastically change. I do hope that she isn't canceled. I do hope we can give her another chance, because it would feel very unfair, again, that um, we're going to take this 2023 incident and kind of rehash it again. Obviously, there is this February incident that's being brought forward as well. He's making allegations. She's also making allegations. So let's wait until there's an actual outcome there before we can really place blame. But I think we can at least blame both of them for the fact that they need to stay the fuck away from each other. They both need professional help. Oh, and I thought I also read somewhere, I guess it's missing from all of the materials I was trying to compile about this. I was reading somewhere that they were both required to get a psych evaluation from like the children's aid, which I think is a great idea because honestly, at the end of the day, the most important person here is Ever. And he just needs to have the best parents, whoever those are right now. So, and something that I thought was interesting about one of those orders that we were reading that Dakota was making was about her being like sober. So I wonder if this happened with her not being sober because isn't she sober? Am I wrong about that? I thought she was sober. It was my understanding that she was sober. I mean, she was at one point. So was she not on this February 23rd to 25th incidences? Because if she wasn't, and that's what's going on here, then, you know, this is like a whole other thing with her sobriety as well, right? So obviously, again, Ever's best interests are the most important here, but it's just really sad that it got all the way here. And it's almost crazy that this could have all have been anticipated just by watching the trajectory over the last week and just watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 4, because you're just like, oh, this isn't going to go well. Oh, I think this is what's going to happen here. And we just led back to the same cycle. So, you know, I just hope that everyone involved here gets help and stays the fuck away from each other and can heal and recoup and all of that. But yeah, I really hope that we don't cancel her, first and foremost, because that's what Dakota wants. And we don't want to give men what they want. We never want that. And two, we all make mistakes. And yes, like I said, she is repeating those mistakes. But if she can really show us that she's going to take some accountability here and learn and grow from this, and something is really going to happen, then, you know, that's a whole different story. But this is just really sad, you know, and it's sad that the other girls don't want to be involved with her anymore. And you could see how much in season 4 they were really worried about appearances, not just with Taylor, but with any of the girls who were doing something, doing anything, quite frankly, because they're considered mom talk. They're considered the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So whenever one of them does something, it sort of does get attached to them all. And they're all trying to grow their own careers in their own ways. So yeah, anytime something like this happens, they get really scared. And that makes me sad because they're supposed to be her friend. But at the same time, like, I guess I kind of get it because it's not like they haven't been there for her through this, right? It's not like this came out of nowhere. This was sort of bound to happen if these two were going to continue in each other's lives with the way things that were going. All right, you guys, that is the end of my lunch break. So I'm going to go and I will. Oh, shit, I forgot to talk about Jordan and Jessi. Okay, so I will quickly talk about them. So TMZ released an article yesterday that says The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Jessi Draper Negatura, or however you pronounce her last name, husband files for divorce. And it says that Jordan beelined it to a Utah court Thursday and filed for divorce after 5 years of marriage, according to online court records. Jordan tells TMZ, "This has not been an easy decision and it comes with a heavy heart. I'm grateful for the shared memories and the lessons. While our paths are now moving in different directions, my priority remains my children and ensuring that they feel loved, supported, and protected through this transition." I mean, I feel like we saw this coming. I'm surprised that it's coming from him and not her. Another interesting factoid about season 4 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was that Jordan is just such an asshole. I really learned that in this season. All the things that she said about him, which I guess were done mostly behind closed doors, were very much done so in front of the cameras. I mean, she talked to him about wanting to change her last name to Draper because of the confusion with the last name. And listen, I've been in the same situation, okay? I also legally changed my last name because people were always getting it wrong. And it is the most annoying thing ever when it's your own name, especially when your name is your brand. I also understand why he'd be upset about it, but he called her selfish and he just like repeatedly called her selfish. He was talking to the other guys about how he's done like twice as much therapy as she's done. She talked in the season about how basically she was basically trying to prepare to divorce him is what it felt like, because she was talking to her dad about her prenup, and then she ends up getting so upset finding out that the prenup might not actually be valid because they didn't have witness signatures. So there always needs to be like signatures from the parties and then signed by a witness as well, or else it's deemed invalid. So she was really worried that she could end up losing millions because he would take that from her. And it's like, this is the guy you're currently married to. So again, it really felt like you're watching her just sort of prepare to leave him and to tie up all of those loose ends in case that's the decision that she wanted to make. But he went ahead and did it. I wonder if maybe there was like a final straw for the both of them. I don't really know. But it is sad, right? And it's sad that now we have several couples within the Mormon franchise that are no longer together. On our Monday reality roundup, we talked about Jace and Michaela. And so now we have Jessi and Jordan. And of course, as per usual, Taylor and Dakota, right? So it is sad to see, especially because they have kids. I do not believe he's going to be the kind of guy who is going to make this easy on her. I agree. He's going to make it very hard. That is definitely the vibe that you get from him. Watching season 4 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, he's the kind of guy who's very vindictive, unfortunately, right? And I don't feel like somebody who is willing to hurt you truly ever loved you. And that's why I feel like this is in Jessi's best interest, right? Like, honestly, as soon as this went up on the internet, everybody was like, good for her. Thank God. This guy was dragging her down. She already had the lowest self-esteem. And I'm not saying that that's because of him, but I'm sure that it didn't help because he was always trying to drag down her character as well, right? And did she do the wrong thing by kissing Marciano? Yes, of course, right? And I'm not saying that she's perfect either. I'm just saying that this guy is very controlling and abusive in his own way in this relationship. And I think at the end of the day, this is going to be for the best. While it's so hard to break up families, especially because I believe she said that their parents are like best friends, I think, and their entire families are really close. Like, you just can't spend the rest of your life miserable and you can't spend the rest of your life for somebody else, right? You just can't. All right, guys, now it is the end of my lunch break, so I have to go. So again, you can reach me at TikTok, Instagram, or Threads at The Bravo Investigator. This episode is audio only, but you can watch the audio version on YouTube, so subscribe over there. Join the Patreon at patreon.com/The Bravo Investigator podcast. Join the Facebook group, and I love you, BBs. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Bravo Investigator podcast. For more content, head over to patreon.com/The Bravo Investigator podcast. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Bravo Investigator. If you enjoyed the show, leave a 5-star review. Love you, BBs. See you next time.